Welcome to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Be a part of the program today by calling 757-222-3705. That's 757-222-3705. Email your questions and comments to Dave at letstalkcarsradio.com. Now, here is the host of Let's Talk Cars Radio, Dave Palach.
Happy Saturday, America. You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio on WKQA Freedom 1110. I'm your host, Dave Palach, and thank you for joining us on Facebook Live, joining us on the radio. We are all connected this week. We finally got everything rolling kind of seamlessly.
Good.
It takes a little extra work.
Outstanding.
So how was your week?
Well, it was, as I told you previously, it was a busy week full of ups and downs.
A busy week full of ups and downs. Well, this week was kind of interesting. So, you know how it is. As we get closer and closer to the holiday, you guys hear me say it all the time, news slows down. It always does, especially car news. I don't know what it is. But
Do I know it doesn't slow down?
what's that?
Speeders in Arizona.
Yeah. So that was one of the topics that we've been talking about. So we've talked about buses, we've talked about speeders, we've talked about how to handle speeders. You know my way, throw footballs at them. It works. You laugh, but it works. So I got into a conversation that started off small, and then I went ahead and posted it out into some of the other sites that I belong to, just to kind of get people's take on what they thought about speeding. And I mean, speed in general I don't think is really the big problem. As far as the conversation was concerned, it's more of when you're not speeding and people tailgate you and how to handle it. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to talk about a little bit. So I pulled it out there and asked some people what they thought about tailgaters and if you choose not to do the speed limit. And it's funny because the very first thing that everybody went to was, well, if they just get out of my way in the fast lane. And that wasn't even where the conversation was even at. People just assumed we were talking about if people are slowed down in the fast lane, you're trying to get around them, and then people have their view on that. But what I was actually talking about was one of the biggest problems we have, especially in this area, it seems to be, and I'm sure it's in everybody's area that listens. And thanks for everybody else new that's been tuning in, everybody's been signing up. It's been awesome. So we keep on growing and growing nationwide, and so we really appreciate that. But one of the biggest problems that I see is, let's say the speed limit's 25, and I go 25 miles an hour, okay? So the vehicle behind me wants to go 40 and starts to tailgate you to the point that you can't see its headlights at all. That's how close it is to you. So I made the comment in jest, just kind of joking around, and said, well, just go ahead and brake check them and collect them. Because to me, that's the way to handle it. That's one way to handle it, I guess.
Yeah, but what a hassle that is.
You know what? I think I welcome the hassle. So I don't know. So then, of course, somebody was like, well, that's one quick way for you to be in trouble because if they catch you brake check, then you're – so we got the big, huge debate about who's responsible. And one of the things that I put was, well, it's up to them to have to stop. If I hit my brakes and you hit the back of me, too bad, so sad for you. You need to keep a safe distance from me.
I thought that you were automatically at fault if you hit someone in the rear end.
I am pretty sure that you are. Like I said, I went through and checked some of the laws, just so you all know. I love the challenge of trying to find all the different laws and stuff. It's always been a hobby of mine. And it basically comes down to it is up to you to stay a safe distance from the car in front of you.
Yeah, won't you get a ticket for following too close?
Well, yeah, and there's a couple different ways it goes. So if you try to yank the wheel and get around them, and you still collect them as failure to maintain lane, following too close. There's a bunch of different tickets that can be associated with it. But it was funny how everybody had a different way of how to handle it. One of the things I saw, that was interesting that I never even heard of until this week, until I started researching all of it, was, people don't flip the bird anymore. Do you know what the new thing is?
I think, but I can't recall it.
You give them a thumbs up.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the new thing. So apparently giving the thumbs up annoys people even more because it's almost like saying, hey, good job, buddy. You know what I mean? So
what does it mean when you get a thumbs down? Because
I don't know. But the new thing is instead of giving the finger, they give a thumbs up. And apparently giving somebody a thumbs up annoys them more than giving them the finger.
Yeah, the story that I read where I saw that becoming prevalent was the same thing. The person had got just terribly angry because they got a thumbs up.
I thought a thumbs up would be a good thing to get.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to you in the worst manner ever because I'm like, yeah, you're a real good driver, buddy. Thumbs up to you.
I think I would do a thumbs down if I was going to do anything at all.
Thumbs down. Well, then it doesn't kind of look like you're throwing a gang sign out the window if you do a thumbs down.
I don't know. somebody just caused me aggravation. I don't, well, I'm the type that doesn't do anything, but not if I was going to do something, it wouldn't be a thumbs up.
You never had an aggressive moment behind the wheel and someone's cut you off or almost caused you to wreck? Or
Yeah, but I don't react. I mean, I just don't want to get in the accident, and I just kind of calm myself down and go on.
It's funny. So when I put the poll out there, everybody, a lot of people are confrontational. I would say I'm mediocre confrontational. I guess it really depends. I could tell you 1,000 times, if I had the kids in the car, I'm not confrontational. I'm just, it's not worth the risk to me. The kids are in the car. You just never know. Like we talked about before, you never know who you're dealing with, who's in the car. So I tend to be less confrontational. But if you literally almost like years ago, I was driving and a lady came into my lane, which I saw her coming. For me to avoid her, I had to yank the wheel. I ended up going into the ditch. Well, I just put a brand new set of wheels on the car, and I scarred my wheels up going in the ditch to get away from her. Well, she just drove on like it was nothing. And I was irritated. So I did chase her down, and I stopped her. And then I waited for the police to come because, as far as I'm concerned, her actions, caused me to damage my car.
And she stopped for you?
Well, no. She did stop, yeah, but she wasn't trying to stop for me. She knew it happened. She was trying to get away. I mean, basically, she ran me off the road, and I damaged my car in the course of her running me off the road. So I got out of the ditch and flew like I probably shouldn't have because I was younger. So that's, and I caught up to her, and then I pulled in front of her and yanked up the e-brake and did one of those little Starsky and Hutch moments and slid my car in front of her and stopped her.
And did the police resolve the situation?
They did, yeah, they did.
To your satisfaction?
Her insurance company ended up taking care of the damage to my car.
There you go.
So, I mean, it's just one of those things, So, I guess that's one way. I mean, I wasn't, I don't think it was over the top, but I wasn't letting her get away either. My car was still drivable, you know what I mean? And the damage was done, and the car was able to catch up back up to her, so. But yeah, she would have ran. I mean, she knew she was running. I mean, she knew, and she was trying to get away very quickly. She knew what happened. So
I just don't understand. Like, I'm 17. When does it come to the point you think it's awesome to do 60 behind you, and then when you slow down because that person's going too fast, you become the person that is in the wrong?
It's funny. People get so aggravated. I see a lot of things that I saw that got posted was. People going around you on double lines. That's something that happens in our neighborhood quite a bit.
You can get a ticket for that.
Yeah, they do. They go around you in the double line. It's people that would go up kind of half on the, for us in our neighborhood coming through, we don't have curbs. So you just have where the yard runs down, it comes down to one of those little drive curbs on the side.
Yeah,
they'll go up on the side of that to go up around you, all kinds of stuff. It gets pretty crazy. And I've never been in that hurry to ever put my vehicle or somebody else's vehicle, endangered. And like I said, the funny thing about it is you meet these people at the stoplight. 9 out of 10 times, you end up at the same stoplight with that person who just did all that crazy stuff to get around you, and then you're at the same stoplight. So what's the purpose?
You can get rid of people that are driving up on your lawn. Just put you a spike strip down there. Well, on your property, kind of hide it in the grass a little.
I had a friend who had a piece of property out in Missouri, and a very large piece of property, and his driveway was like a hidden driveway purposely. He had it just marked with one little red reflector that sat down low close to the ground so you know where to turn, but it was no real driveway to the house. What it basically was is you went and you kind of went onto the grass and you went around trees in a certain fashion to get back to his house. And of course, when you got through the woods, it opened up to probably 20 acres that he had cleared, and the house sat in the middle of those 20 acres on a cleared lot. But you went a good ways through the trees to get to his house. And he had bought these little, I guess I'd call them spikes. They're made out of like steel, but they were 3 prongs. So at any point in time, there was always a prong sticking up. And he used to buy them and throw them all over around the trees of where you first entered his house area. So if you didn't go the right path, he used to tell me, I find cars all the time. He goes, I'd come out and there's cars with flat tires or trucks stuck out there. Maybe I guess they thought they were going to go hunting on my property, whatever. And he goes, I see him sitting out there with 1-2 flat tires sitting out there, and I just come out and go on by. And he goes, within a couple hours, sometimes a day, they'd finally be towed out of there.
I was going to ask you if that worked. Obviously, it did.
Yeah, they were like, it's weird looking. It's 3-prong thing. He showed me one because he had one. It's weird looking. It's just
that would ruin the tire, wouldn't it?
Oh, it destroys the tire. Yeah, they're not saving that tire. They were big, huge, round spike, about the size of a dime. Spike that he had tons of them made up. I don't know where he got them from, but if he had them made, but he threw them all over out there because he didn't want people coming up, to the house. He was a very private person.
Man.
He wasn't crazy or anything. I know that sounds a little over excessive, but the guy was just a private
Well,
person.
he obviously must have had a problem with trespassers at some point.
Yeah, that's what I'm
before.
thinking. But yeah, I mean, that was his clever way. So, no, I mean, I guess if you're out there and, you're in such a hurry and speeding and all that kind of stuff, I guess there's certain ways to handle it. I don't know. The one finger salute always seems to really get people, but the thumbs up is maybe a new one I'll start trying.
Oh, man. What will it be next?
It will be something crazy. The thumbs up makes people mad. I mean, I guess smiling at people makes people mad. By the way, you remember that topic we had last week about
Curtis says hello, by the way.
about car judging people?
Yeah.
Okay, so I got some responses we're going to talk about later on. So people started sending me things how they find themselves. It's true. I talked about this is a real thing, car judging, and they went ahead and talked about how they do car judge. I found myself car judging this week too, so I had to tell you about it. So we'll get into it later in the show. So yeah, anyway, get back to we get off track all easy. If you're one of those speeders that you feel like you want to tailgate, you probably not want to. What Curtis had to say?
Curtis says hello, David, and Rockin' Larry.
Tell him I said right back at him.
Well, glad to know you're watching the show. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get into some of the news. I got a little bit, not a lot. So everybody knows the anticipation for waiting for the Tesla semi-truck to come out, and it finally came out, and everybody's been excited about it. In fact, Anheuser-Busch just ordered 40 of them. There's a bunch of other different Walmart's looked into order. I think they ordered like 20 of them, said to order 20 of them. So there is a new company that has now come out called Thor Trucks, and they're pretty aggressive looking, but they are actually looking to dethrone Tesla. I don't know how they're going to do it yet. Here's some of the challenges. So first of all, Tesla's truck is... What we're talking about the self-driving animated truck that eventually will probably do all its own loads all by itself. And its range is up to 500 miles. So some of the competitions out there, and there's a couple different companies that are still trying to work on it, but Thor has a truck that's 300-mile range. So that's, 200-mile difference, kind of a different. But the prices are $150,000 to like $200,000, and Tesla's like up to $300,000 for one. It goes up to 500 miles. Mm-hmm. But it just shows you that as soon as a little bit of technology shows itself, like everybody else is right there. So which makes me believe that everybody's working on all the same things, but we only hear about whoever's at the forefront of it all.
That's true. You don't know who's working on what.
Or did they release their truck second just to be, let the newness of the idea wear in a little bit, and they come in steaming with a whole nother design. So it's cool looking. If you haven't checked out, go look out Thor Trucks. The truck's actually pretty mean looking. It's a cool looking truck.
I've seen Teslas. I haven't seen them.
Yeah, they're pretty cool and stuff. So here's one that I know people will like and will not like or won't be able to believe. You ever found yourself in need of medical attention?
Boy, have I.
And you're sitting there wondering, do you want to call the ambulance?
No, I try to avoid that.
This is real. This happens. So there was a study done that people actually will be in medical condition status, I guess you put, and they probably really ought to go to the emergency room. And they actually will sit there and contemplate rather calling the ambulance or not, because it's the cost that's associated with it.
That sounds like me.
So instead of going and getting the medical attention that they need right away, they're actually sitting there thinking about, do I really want to? Can I drive myself? I mean, and why they're hurt. So I would have never thought about this. I would have never in a million years thought that. Now, I'm cheapskate. I'll be the first one to tell you. I'm definitely cheap. And I have needed medical attention. A couple years ago, we talked about it. I actually contemplated myself, and I did. I drove myself because I didn't want the medical bill from an ambulance. I probably should have taken an ambulance, but I didn't.
He doesn't remember driving himself, though.
Yeah. We'll get that's true. So there is a solution to this, and you will never in a million years guess what it is.
You're right, I won't.
You won't. Everybody else listening won't until I come back from a commercial break. We'll talk to you soon.
You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio with Dave Palach here on Freedom 1110 WKQA. Your vehicle has let you down and you need to get it moved pronto. Who do you call? Quality Towing and Recovery in Portsmouth. Whether it's a breakdown or auto accident, Quality Towing and Recovery will be there quickly to solve your problem and with courteous service and reasonable rates. When you're stuck, don't worry about it. Call Quality Towing and Recovery in Portsmouth, 237-5050. That's Quality Towing and Recovery, 237-5050.
You became a nurse for a lot of reasons. You care about people and you love taking care of them. Being a nurse is who you are. But today, many medical facilities require nursing candidates to have bachelor's degrees. So you're probably going to want to have that degree. But you work. You may have a family. How can you possibly fit getting your bachelor's degree in your already tight schedule? With the online RN to BSN Bridge program at Independence University, our online learning model helps you balance your work, your family, and your desire to move up in your nursing career. Class sizes are small and personal, and we're 100% focused on helping you through the program so you can earn your degree. An IU's online RN to BSN program is accredited by the Commission on Collegiate Nursing Education. Our goal is to help you achieve your goals. Independence University's online RN to BSN program. Call now.
800-797-1256. 800-797-1256. 800-797-1256. That's 800-797-1256.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Call into the program now at 757-222-3705. Now, here is Dave Palach.
Welcome back, America. You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio on WKQA Freedom 1110. I am your host, Dave Palach, and if you were with us before the commercial break, we're actually talking about what the alternative is instead of taking an ambulance during an emergency situation. Not that there should be an alternative, but apparently there is.
Cost is a big influence.
It is, as we were just talking about off the air before we come back on. You know, it's $2,000 to $3,000 for an ambulance ride. So that's the reason why people are actually considering different methods. So, do you have any guesses to what it was, guys?
I can't imagine.
Uber.
No way.
Yes. So people are actually, a survey that was done, people are actually electing to take Uber during emergency situations versus taking an ambulance because it's, what, a $25 ride versus a $2,000 ride. To the point that they actually are calling for there to be an emergency app. So on the app where you can push a button and it states that it's an emergency versus just a regular ride. I told you. I pre-warned you.
I think Uber would be okay, but if you had something really serious, at least you're getting medical care of some sort in the ambulance. You're not going to get that on an Uber ride.
I got one question. Is it an Uber X or an Uber XL?
I want to know if the tuck and roll method applies. Like as I pull in front of the ambulance, I just open the door, tuck and roll.
Tuck and roll only works if you're on fire.
Is that what it is? Let's stop, drop, and roll.
Oh, that's right.
Tuck and roll is where you kick the door open and give you a little shove and tell them to tuck and roll while you're rolling about 25. I thought it was interesting. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, apparently this is something that people are actually looking to as far as an option, as far as getting inside an ambulance. I couldn't imagine it. Instead, well, maybe they'll get to you faster. Never know.
You're right. I don't know, but it's the cost. It shouldn't be that expensive.
Do you remember when everybody used to complain that they'd wait forever and ever and ever for ambulances and fire trucks and all that kind of stuff to show up? I'd never thought that was. I mean, I guess that to some people that's a real option or a real problem, I should say. But I guess I'm spoiled. I lived right between two big fire stations.
I've never had to call the police. The fire folks or an ambulance, but I have called the police, and every time they were pretty Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, we called them during the summertime. We had a gas leak at the house.
I remember he said, all right, don't have a lot of people show up. Next thing you hear, all the sirens, he goes, that's a lot of people.
Right. Well, I was pretty sure there was a gas leak because it just, not that you can really smell gas, but you can to a certain degree. And
well, they put that stuff in there,
Well, my alarm went off. So I had one of those carbon monoxide alarms, and it went off. So I was like, all right, so I took it outside, and I brought it back in the house. As soon as I brought it back inside the house, it went off again.
And then our ADT alarm went off.
So I went ahead and called them, and sure enough, it was way over the limit that it should be. So,
and you just got out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, got a reader's letter here for you. Dear Dave, I just bought a 2002 Toyota Corolla for a work car. It needs a few things to make it right. One thing that I'm questioning is the windshield. I have called around to a few places and the price seems to jump around a lot per the quotes I've been given. What makes it so pricey and what would you suggest? Jonathan in Norfolk. Well, I actually do have an answer for this, and just because I have a little knowledge in auto glass from years ago. So the big thing in price nowadays is, rather that windshield is actually new or used. That's what a lot of people don't realize. So some of the glass is brand new and comes from one of the glass distributors, and some of the places that do windshields actually go to the junkyard and they remove windshields of the most popular cars. They clean them all up, buff them all out, and then they put them in their inventory, and that's the reason why the price is so different.
And do they tell you that?
That I can't answer for you. I don't know if they do or don't. I would imagine a lot of them maybe don't.
I think you should be told, or maybe given an option. Well, you can get this one for this, or this new one will cost you this.
Does it really matter, though? It's just glass. Glass is glass. It shouldn't really matter as long as there's no chips, nicks, or dings or anything in it. And if you can't tell the difference when it's put in, should it really matter where the glass come from? That's a whole other question to ask.
Yeah, because somebody else looked out of it.
Somebody else looked out of it. I don't even know how that even. Oh, hey,
If it's new, nobody's ever looked out of it but you. But if it was used, somebody else looked out of that.
is that really a thing?
No, it isn't, but I thought it was just fun to be contentious.
Somebody else looked out it. So
I would still want to know if I was getting a used windshield. I want to know if I was getting a used part.
a part's different. I mean, I would agree with you on the part, but glass is glass. I really don't care whether it came out of some other car or not. As long as it looks good in my car, it's been buffed up and looks good, and I can't tell, what do I care where it came from?
I would certainly choose a used windshield if it was substantially less expensive.
Well, then it answers the question of what if you got a used one and you still paid the premium price? Would you know the difference? No.
No, but I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, you'd be mad once you knew. Yeah, exactly. So, Jonathan, like I said, that is a really good question, but that's your answer for it. I know there's a lot of places that do. They get their glass out of some of the most popular cars, and they go ahead and just get them in. They clean them all up, and they put them in their inventory, and that's the reason why the price seems to be so different. And I've done it many times. I have had windshields installed in many, many cars over the years, and I happen to know companies that actually do sell them that I personally know come out of the junkyard, and it's a huge price difference. So,
Do they stand behind the used windshield?
well, yeah, I mean, it's just glass, so it's just the only thing to really stand behind is going to be the installation.
Well, in case it leaks or something.
Oh, yeah, that's all installation. Yeah, they stand behind it, no problem. I've never had any issue. I never had one leak. I mean, I know people have one leak, from that particular company, and that's just an oversight that sometimes can't be controlled. But they've come back out and fixed the problem.
Well, that's all that matters.
Yeah, so that is where your price difference is going to be. So here's one. Talk about price difference. I got a real good one for you for price differences. Luxury apartments in New York City selling premium parking spots in front of the apartment. What do you think they're going for?
$75,000 a year.
You know.
200? Huh? 200,000?
No.
Are they both low? Those guesses?
No, those are both low.
Wow.
6,000?
You're
going the wrong way,
You're going the wrong
Kevin.
direction. We said
No,
low.
600,000.
Close. $550,000 just for the parking spot to go with your luxury apartment.
Is that for a year or is that permanent?
Hey, you own it. Yeah, you own that parking spot.
$500,000 for a place to park your car.
Right. Would you pay it?
No.
No, really?
No.
Even if money was just water to you, would you still pay it?
Well, that's obviously a horse of a different color.
That's what type of car I own.
I wouldn't like the idea of paying $500,000 for a tiny little piece of land just to park on. And it's tiny.
Well, yeah, it is tiny. So I did I'd never heard of this, so I went and did a little bit of research and come to find out this is not new. This has been going on for a while. I don't live in New York City, so I would have never known, but apparently this is not new. There's places that actually have parking spots that are more expensive than that.
I knew parking was expensive there. It's expensive in any big city, I'm so familiar with leasing
Right.
a spot where you pay annually or you pay monthly and you do a
Well, this is supposed to be like
lease.
premium parking right in front of your building. I assume it's got to be some type of covered parking, but it's right there. Premium parking right there in front of the building.
Well, for $500,000, I only expect to take maybe less than 10 steps to be in the front of my house
Right.
or apartment or whatever.
I thought it was crazy. I was just like, wow. So then I went and started looking it up because, I get all these different kind of stories that people send us. And I looked and saw that there's ones that are less. There's ones that were running the 200 to 300,000 range, but there's actually some that ran more.
Roll that over into your mortgage.
That's what I was wondering. So is that part of your mortgage?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Or do you take out a second mortgage? You got a second mortgage on a
At
parking spot.
$500,000 and nothing down, you can imagine what the monthly payment would be.
Hey, if you have that kind of money to spend, by all means, go ahead and spend it. That's all.
And do you have to pay tax on that since that's technically real estate?
Yeah, that's a good question. You're paying tax on a parking spot.
If you're paying so much for on the value and it's $500,000,
How big is the parking spot?
it's big enough to put your car in. I'm sure my truck probably wouldn't fit in it. There's the question. What if you have a bigger vehicle?
you pay more.
You need 2 parking spots.
They repaint the line and charge you more.
Yeah, right. They go out there. They're like, "We got this, sir." They just got a little black spray paint and they just spray over the line. Take out some yellow and respray the line for you. That's crazy. So, in the theme of keeping with money, because you notice all these stories go in conjunction with each other, how about $14,000 for an Uber ride?
Where
Matters
are you
where
going?
to.
To the moon.
Yeah. This gentleman got charged $14,000 for a ride across Toronto, which was like a 25-minute ride or something like that. And they charged him $14,000. So he went to Uber and was like, look, there's obviously a mistake. And their contention was, well, it was premium rate time and stuff like that. And they didn't want to reverse the charges for him. I know you got the look on your face like I did when I was reading the story. But yeah, I mean, $14,000. He finally got it squared away. But it took him a while. They were not going to give him his money back.
That just seems so over the top.
You think?
I wouldn't think it would cost
A little?
$14,000 to drive across Canada.
He could have bought a used car and paid somebody to drive it for him for less.
Exactly so.
Yeah. Uber keeps me guessing all the time.
Did they resolve it?
Yeah,
Or
it got resolved eventually, but from the story that was given to me, it actually took a while to get it resolved. They were not going to give him his money back.
Man,
That Uber driver must have been the best driver ever.
that'd be like getting an Uber drive from here to West Virginia, and it's $14,000.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we've heard about people hiring the Uber drivers, and they're actually driving them like a couple states away. A couple athletes have done that. We've seen it pop up in the newspaper a couple different times.
Well, clearly, the greater the distance, the more the cost. I get that.
Right, but $14,000. I mean,
For that's that's a big province, but it's not that big. That would be $14,000.
no. And if strange isn't even stranger, what is it? Fiction becomes fact. Is that what it is?
Fact is stranger than fiction.
Yeah. Well, how about GM applying for a patent for external airbags? We talked about this about 2 years ago, if you remember.
I remember vaguely.
It was just an idea. Well, it looks like GM has actually put in for the patent for it to have external airbags on cars.
And what are they going to be made out of?
I don't know, but they say from what the patent looks like is it's more for protecting pedestrians that get hit by the cars. But you would think it's to a certain degree that it would actually give you some type of protection as far as inside the car too, with just added airbag technology. You would think.
How does the car know if you're hitting a pedestrian or another car?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I think it's probably gonna be like this. So many cars have sensors and cameras and stuff on them. The car's constantly thinking now. It can determine the difference between animals and people and all that kind of stuff now. And all the software that's out there in these self-driving cars, cars that drive themselves, autonomous, anonymous. Did I get it all? Just got to make sure. So, in fact, in one of the stories this week, we talk a little bit more about some of the new sensors and camera trees that's in cars as well. They'll be coming up here a little bit later in the show. But yeah, I would imagine since all these sensors actually be able to tell, because as they drive, if you've ever seen LiDAR and the way that LiDAR works and everything on a car, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, this is the technology that actually is put into self-driving cars. It's almost like looking at something like the Matrix. You know what I mean? It's like everything, it puts out like a scan and it figures out the height and the distance and everything of what everything is on a car. So if you ever look at it, and there's pictures online and stuff, you can give you kind of a general idea how it works. It is looking at everything as you drive, buildings, streets, curbs, you name it. It sees everything as you drive. So I'd imagine that's how they determine the difference.
There must be some powerful artificial intelligence they have in those things.
Yeah, and then some. It really is. The technology keeps changing over and over and over again. So, speaking of technology, I got a story coming up here after the commercial break that you won't believe. Testing car paint and how they do it. Here's a pretty cool story coming up. We'll talk to you soon.
You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio with Dave Palach here on Freedom 1110 WKQA.
Your vehicle has let you down and you need to get it moved pronto. Who do you call?
Quality Towing and Recovery in Portsmouth. Whether it's a breakdown or auto accident, Quality Towing and Recovery will be there quickly to solve your problem and with courteous service and reasonable rates. When you're stuck, don't worry about it. Call Quality Towing and Recovery in Portsmouth, 237-5050. That's Quality Towing and Recovery, 237-5050.
Attention! Sorry I'm talking a little loud because I want to reach people with a hearing problem. Do you want to hear better for just $299? Yes, not thousands, but for $299, you can hear all the sounds you've been missing for years. Hearing Help Express has been helping people hear better, selling top quality hearing aids for over 30 years. Now's your best chance to hear better with hearing aids for only $299, plus a free 45-day home trial offer, and you don't even need to leave your home or get a hearing test. Call now to start your risk-free 45-day home trial offer. Call 800-559-7631. 800-559-7631 for free hearing help consultation. Learn how Hearing Help Express can improve the quality of your life. Visit us online now at hearinghelp.com or call 800-559-7631. 800-559-7631.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Call into the program now at 757-222-3705. Now, here is Dave Palach.
Welcome back, America. You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio on WKQA Freedom 1110. I'm your host, Dave Palach, hanging out with Rockin' Larry Cobb. And Cameron, of course, is always doing technical work for us. So before we went to commercial break, a new way to test car paint. Any ideas?
Torch.
Torch. How about a mini car wash? You had to see this video.
It has to have chemicals in it.
Well, Nissan actually has a small little tiny car wash. They put little die-cast cars in, they paint it, and they just keep on running them through this little tiny car wash over and over again. They put sand and stuff on the car and let the brushes run across the top just to see how well the paint's going to hold up. There's a video for it. It's a little tiny die-cast car. And they paint it with their paint, and they run. Could you imagine? That's that guy's job. So what do you do at Nissan? I run the mini car wash. That's his job, to keep on washing the car in the mini car wash. When I mean mini, I mean it like the size of like a shoebox. I mean, that's what I mean mini. Yeah. See, that changes things for you when I give you an image, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the size of a shoebox. Mini car wash. Yeah, you thought mini when I said mini, maybe like the size of like a go-kart or something,
Well,
right?
yeah, just something small, but not that small.
Now you really feel bad for the guy, don't you?
I'm surprised they need a guy to do it.
No, they do. They have a guy that does it. That's his job.
So, you know how car washes have the tracks and it could break? Mm-hmm. In the mini car wash, there's break.
little alarm goes off. It has to stop. Guys, the car wash can be down for a couple hours, folks.
Now applying wax.
Yeah. A little blinking sign tells you now applying wax. That's awesome. By the way, I was at a car wash. I won't mention the name, where a guy was having a fit because it wouldn't light up. All the stuff that he paid for, you know how it lights up to tell you that that's being done? It did not light up, and he was having a fit about it. He's like, it didn't light up. Nothing sprayed out of those nozzles. You need to put it back through. I mean, technically he's right. If he paid for all the services.
He's right, and I guess it's the only way to know if he's getting it, but he probably was. You know, there's such a thing as a burned-out light.
I've always wondered, are you really getting everything that you pay for, though? Seriously, as you sit there and you watch your car getting, washed, I always wonder, are you getting what you're paying for? You wouldn't know, really, truly, if you think about it, especially if it's not one where you can see your car go through. Like, oh, would you like this, the undercarriage protection, all that. You would never know. It could be just water spraying out of those.
Well, where I get my car washed, you can walk through the inside and watch through the windows the whole process.
Yeah, but you still wouldn't know what being sprayed on your car.
No, but since it lights up, I assume.
See, now you know what the guy was talking. It didn't light up. See, I was leading you to that one. I literally led you right into that one.
Now applying hot
When the
wax.
soap runs out, how do they replace it? Like, because you have to replace it from inside and have to stop it.
There's a room that holds all that stuff.
I'm sure there's a big holding tank.
Yeah, there is. Yep.
I kind of want to go see it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So here, got another read a letter for you. Hey Dave, I saw a story about gas this week and the differences in regular and premium. I saw this story too. It went on about the advantages and disadvantages. I'm curious your take, Colleen in Chesapeake. Well, I've always had an opinion about this. I don't put premium gas in my car. I don't. Every once in a while, I'll put it in and just run it through, just because it makes me feel better. I think, but what they're talking about, the advantages and disadvantages. And I read the same. I'm pretty sure I read the same article that she's talking about. Was a study that was done, and for the most part, they say don't put the premium in your car. If your car doesn't ask for it, don't put it in your car, because the differences and the changes, the cost value versus the different, they talk about, you'll get better gas mileage and stuff like that, but the actual dollar for dollar cost value isn't there.
There's no benefit then.
Correct. If for what you pay for gasoline at the regular, just the basic bottom, 87 octane versus your 93, and the difference of the money, you'll never ever see the difference. Even though it may give you, say, 15% better gas economy, you won't. The 15% isn't in the difference in the money.
I used to do that because I was told by so many people that it was good to run a tank of high test.
We were all grown up that way. That's why I said every once in a while I run it through, because that's what I was told. You should run one through.
And then I read several stories that said the bottom line is if your car doesn't require it, you get no benefit. Yeah. So why you're wasting money?
You are throwing it out the window.
Yeah, there's no benefit if you burn regular gas. Just continue to burn it, and that's what I've been doing for years. And even when I ran high test, I didn't see any benefit. Unless it was psychological. I thought it was running.
Yeah, I think it's more psychological than it is anything else. I would absolutely agree with that.
Hey, that squeak went away.
Yeah. Yeah. You're convincing yourself that it was worth the money that you spent. So Hyundai and Kia drivers, listen up. There is issued a recall this week for a brake light problem on Kias and Hyundais. It's actually going to be your Elantra and your Kia Forte. 2013 to 2014 model on the Elantras and 2012 to 2014 models on the Forte. They said the problem is that the brakes will actually stay on when you're not pushing the brake, and the car can actually be shifted into gear while not touching the brake. So if you drive one of these, definitely get into your dealer and let them check it out for you. You guys hear us talk all the time. Recalls are no joke, because you just never know. It could cause a serious problem, especially if you can shift it out of gear without touching the brake. I can see how that could be all kinds of problems.
Yes, indeed.
Especially if you have animals in the car or small kids. Yeah. I have seen many videos where cars have rolled by being switched into gear.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, not so much. Hey, anybody care that Mini's getting a new logo?
The Mini Cooper?
Yep.
Extra mini?
Nope, they're just getting they've redone their whole logo.
I think the logo they had was just fine. How are you going to improve on a logo?
Well, apparently you just change the color up a little bit and make it flatter.
Are they having a different message given out or what?
No, just changing the logo.
It's still blue?
No, it's black and white was the one I saw, the rendering I saw. It's a black and white logo.
And what does it look like?
A circle and says Mini. You can see I'm real enthused about it. I didn't think anybody would take that much interest in it.
That's how the old one was. Just a circle with a Mini with the little wings on it.
Yeah, go look it up. You Google it. I'll give you something to do tonight. We can have a whole conversation about it next week.
Another increase in cost with no benefit.
So it has to be cost?
Yeah, it's costing them something.
So here's something that's related to cost. Side camera mirrors, and we talked about a little bit earlier in the show about sensors and cameras and stuff like that. So there's a big push for, instead of having side mirrors, having side cameras. Now, we talked about this beginning of the year, that some of the new designs and stuff that actually came out that were shown at the auto show were showing a lot more cameras hooked up versus actually mirrors. And they say there's actually benefit to this. There's less drag on the car, so better fuel mileage, and it actually gives you more view of the side of your car than any mirror could.
Eliminate the blind spot?
That's exactly what they're trying to do, is eliminate the blind spot. So
I'm for that.
Now, the thing about it is I've seen a couple of different versions of this. So I've seen where the side mirror is actually on a screen that's on the dash, and then I've seen where the side mirror is a camera, and the actual TV screen is built on the inside of the car, right about where you would put, remember where the little plastic triangle usually goes where the mirror is? Mm-hmm. Right there. So they actually put a TV screen right there in the door.
They either need to have a screen for each side,
yes,
or a bigger screen with a split.
I agree. Well, some of the things I've seen is in dash, and it's split. So it's your rear view mirror, and it's split screen to two side mirrors on the side, and I've seen that inside the dash. But the latest design I saw, which was interesting, was the TVs basically on the door, right about usually where in some cars they put the extra speaker at, in that little right there in that little corner right there.
Okay. Well, I kind of like the sound of that.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, I'm all for technology. I always have been. But some things I think are just kooky technology that doesn't make any sense to me. But this, I mean, if it takes away the blind spots and you can see so much more on your car, then, I mean, I very much believe that, let's move forward with it.
Remove the blind spot and increase the safety.
Yeah, there you go. So look for that in the future. So here's one that we hadn't talked about in a while. Car vending machines. Okay, it's been a while since we talked about them. So Alibaba, I guess is how you say it, has a cat-shaped car vending machine that they're going to be installing.
A cat shaped.
Looks like a cat.
Why?
I have no idea.
There has to be a reason.
Probably because they're in the countries that they're putting in, people like cats and stuff. So, and it's not here in the United States; it's in other countries.
Oh, okay.
And we know in other countries, cats are like very worshipped in other countries. And
Another
stuff,
one of
so.
those machines where you walk up and stick $50,000 in, and out pops your car.
Well, this one actually gives you the opportunity to take test drives and everything else, which I know some of the other machines do. But you actually can choose the car, take it for a test drive, and actually purchase it right out of the machine as well. I still think it's more of a novelty than as anything else. Just to say you bought your car from a vending machine, but I mean,
I would agree with the novelty approach on that.
well, remember when they first did it, they were sending you out like this big coin. We talked about it, and you got the coin in the mail, and you just take the coin to the vending machine and put it in the vending machine.
Yeah, we were joking. I wonder if it gets damaged when it drops down the chute.
Yeah, comes one of those big plastic,
Or
one of those big plastic little balls things you got to crack open.
You put your $50,000 in, the car doesn't come out, and it's like, I need my money back. I didn't get my car.
It spits it back to you in ones. I don't know.
Go into the cashier. Give it to me.
It looks like a cat, so yeah, I don't know.
Well, there's got to be a reason for that. They just didn't decide to do it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there's a reasoning behind it. Here's a reasoning behind things. DHL is going to be one of the first companies pushing forward with self-driving trucks. Said to start testing them next year.
I'm going to buy one from Tesla.
Well, no. I think what they're, so here's the thing. One of the things that nobody's really thought about is, and we've talked about a lot of different things that has to do with self-driving vehicles, is there's really no self-driving vehicle yet that's purposely built, if you think about it. So all the self-driving technology is based 100% on other applications as far as really the automobile in a whole, when you think about it. Tesla, self-driving, but it's a car, you know what I mean? So nobody's really building anything that's purposely built. Like, I built this self-driving vehicle to deliver pizzas, or I built this self-driving vehicle to deliver mail. Nobody's purposely building anything. They're taking it and applying that technology to already existing applications. The big push now is for people to actually start looking at building things for the applications of what it's going to do. Ford is one of the ones that's actually pioneering some of that. Some of the things I've seen that's come out within about the last 3 to 4 months is building purposely built vehicles. So this vehicle is going to be built for this and this only for self-driving, if you follow what I'm saying.
Makes sense.
So instead of taking a Jeep Cherokee and throwing a bunch of self-driving technology at it, you're actually going to build the car from the ground up with a purpose in mind.
These self-driving trucks, I can just imagine the local city scrutiny they're going to, or the state even, the scrutiny for that because of safety.
Well, the problem with it is people truly don't understand the technology. When you poll people and you start asking people about self-driving, and we've talked about this, we've followed some of the studies that have been done, people are willing to buy things they don't even understand. I mean, they just want to be the first to have it, and they don't even understand the technology yet. I think that if people actually understood how far the technology has actually come on this, that they would have a different perspective as far as them being out on the road. There's a lot of technology, a lot of thought, a lot of forethought that's put into, I should say, to a self-driving vehicle. It can do so many things that people aren't even aware of because they're just not in the know. They have no idea. They just hear a vehicle that's going to drive itself, and instantly they're scared of the idea, which probably because of all the movies we've seen over the years would make you scared.
I think they'll remain scared until there's widespread availability of that.
And it's coming very quickly.
Well, I know that.
Look at drones, okay? You just take a look at the drones altogether. So drones were a very scary technology when people started talking about drones and all the different technologies that went into one. Now we're talking about moving people in them. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing. We've looked at fire applications. We've looked at medical service applications as far as ambulances, all done in flying drone applications that are huge. People are like, oh, that's never going to happen. Every time on this show that we've said it's never going to happen within 3 years, it's turned out and been real. So It just goes to show you, never is never.
That's been the case with technological things down through the last, 200 or 300 years.
Well, you've heard it say many, many times, somebody will dream it, somebody will build it. It's just going to happen.
And somebody will buy it.
Yep. And on that note, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about dealership in Colorado asking $176,000 for the first Demon. We'll talk to you soon.
You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio with Dave Palach here on Freedom 1110 WKQA. Your vehicle has let you down and you need to get it moved pronto. Who do you call? Quality Towing and Recovery in Portsmouth. Whether it's a breakdown or auto accident, Quality Towing and Recovery will be there quickly to solve your problem and with courteous service and reasonable rates. When you're stuck, don't worry about it. Call Quality Towing and Recovery in Portsmouth, 237-5050. That's Quality Towing and Recovery, 237-5050.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for a simple rate as low as $19.99 a month. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happens. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For as low as $19.99 a month with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Call 800-683-5921. 800-683-5921. 800-683-5921. Call now. That's 800-683-5921.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Call into the program now at 757-222-3705. Now, here is Dave Palach.
Do not adjust your dials. You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio on WKQA Freedom 1110. I am your host, Dave Palach. Before we went to commercial break, we were actually talking about the price for a new Demon. So there's a dealership in Colorado that, and the story is even crazier than the price. They want $176,000 for a Demon. So Dodge was afraid of this. Dodge has been talking about this for a while. They were pretty sure that the dealerships were going to try to start gouging people for these cars because they're only going to make 3,000 of them. So they tried to do everything internally that they could to keep from the dealerships going crazy and marking up the prices up and over. Well, what they didn't keep in mind was somebody buying one and then going ahead and reselling it. So basically another car dealership buys the car and then they go ahead and resell the car. Now, the story gets even crazier because this dealership doesn't even have the car yet. And they already have it posted online for $176,000.
So when would you expect to receive the car?
They're talking sometime in spring is when the car will actually be available.
But you have to buy it in advance.
Yeah, basically. Correct. So would you pay $176,000 for this car?
No.
I mean, so I remember, so this happens, just so y'all know, this is not new if you didn't know. You know, I watched supply and demand take over like crazy. It just does. There's nothing you can do about it. You know, I told you about when the Toyota Sienna first came out, there was the price of Sienna plus the popularity charge added to that vehicle of like another $5,000 at a lot of dealerships.
I'm just not, I don't think that way.
Yeah, I watched it happen. I just couldn't believe that people...
Oh, I've seen it. I know it exists, but there's no way I'm going to...
I couldn't do it. I like cars and I'm a gearhead through and through, but just the cheap side of me would just never allow me to go ahead and give you that extra money.
Yeah, it's a matter of value. Is it worth that to me?
Well, it's just like anything else. I don't rush out and buy the newest thing every time when it first comes out because I don't want to pay that popularity charge. I wait for the popularity to go away and the price to come down before I buy it.
And it always does.
It does every single time. If you can hold out, I mean, there's a lot of people I know, and nothing wrong. A lot of my friends are the same way. They cannot hold out. They got to have the newest, brightest thing every time it comes out. I never been that guy. Now, I've been accused many times of being that guy that always has have the nicest thing when you go to buy things. And that's true. When I go and I look at things, I usually buy the nicest of whoever makes it. And that's just always been my kind of thing. So I'm guilty, and a lot of people know who accuse me of that. So I am definitely guilty of that. But as far as paying for the price because it's brand new and I want to be the first guy to have it, and I just can't do that. I do not have it in me to do that. So, hey, if you do, more power to you. But this guy doesn't. Speaking of money, again, when it comes around to, do you remember me telling you when I was telling you China was trying to bring cars to America, and there's been just a big pushback on them coming here because, first of all, if they get it looks like they are coming. Let me just go ahead and say that. So a new story come out, there is a big push to bring them here. The biggest problem with bringing them here in the past is they have some pretty cool designed cars that they want to sell for like next to nothing. I mean, in comparison, they have 8-passenger SUVs that they want to sell for like $9,000. I mean, that's just a throwaway car at that point.
And that's profitable for them?
It is. They say it is. It's profitable for them. So, and they've for years have modeled their cars after cars that already exist here in the United States, which is even crazier when you start looking at some of the body designs. If you ever got some time, go on the line and look them up. But you'll see that the 8-passenger SUV actually looks like the old Toyota Land Cruiser. It looks just like it. And I think it had like a price tag on them like $9,500.
I can see the dealers up in arms over that.
Right. Now you know why they haven't wanted them to come here. Because no matter what kind of car person you are, there's a part of you that goes, I can buy this car for $9,500. It's 8-passenger. It fits all my family in it. And I can drive it until the wheels fall off this thing, and I'll just go buy another one. And I can buy 2 for less than I could buy 1 of what it looks like.
Hey, it's a valid argument.
So, well, in some cases, you can buy 3. You know what I'm saying? So every time it wears out, you just throw it away and you go get another car.
But do the Chinese cars, there are a lot of stories about different things being of less quality that come out of there.
There's always that. There's always going to be that. Doesn't matter what you do. There's always going to be that thought to it. But at that kind of money, that thought has to go away. If it gets you from point A to point B and carries around your family the way you need it to, at $9,500, if that car only lasted you 2 years, it didn't owe you another thing.
Well, that is correct. But, remember the Yugo. That was a cheap car. It was also a lousy car.
Yeah, but a lot of people had them.
Oh, they did. But they didn't have them too long.
There was a guy in Vegas that was souping those things up when I lived in Vegas as a kid. He was buying
souped up Yugo.
He was souping up. They're fast. He was doing that with those and Geo Metros, with the 2 cars he was working on. He was souping them up. He lowered them low to the ground. He was souping up the motors to them, and they were just lightning quick. I don't know what he was doing to them, but he lived down the street. His shop, I shouldn't say lived, but his shop was down the street from where my buddy lived at. And they did test and tune at about midnight on these cars. So we be at my buddy's house, and they'd come flying down the road. I mean, just lightning fast. And at first you never really paid attention. You just thought someone was speeding. And after a couple times it happened, you're like, what is that? And I realized they were Yugos and Geo Metros. I don't know what he was doing to them.
Man, well, I just know, I remember I liked the Yugo when it came out because of the price.
Oh, yeah.
I never bought one.
Yeah.
And I started looking around and reading more about it and found out, well, you're not getting your money's worth, really.
Well, this could be another Yugo. Who knows? We will see. It could happen. It definitely could happen. So, how has the SUV changed what we know about buying cars was one of the questions that was posed out this week. Any idea?
No.
Longer payments. Because of the cost of what SUVs are is actually what has made the payments on cars stretch out so far. So you know what the average payment is this month?
No.
69 months is the average now. That's the average car loan.
Wow.
Yep. Now, here's one of the things that actually has been interesting. Car leasing has come down quite a bit because the car market has not been so well in the last couple months. They're down again, and it looks at this point in time that they're going to end in the downside at the end of the year. There's car leases out there for $149.
Look, I saw an ad for a Kia that the down payment was kind of pricey, but the monthly payment was $126.
It's got to be the Forte, the Kia Forte.
I really don't recall the model, but I saw, and of course it was a lease. So like $2,800 down and $126 a month.
One of the ones, so I saw a story got sent to me in the beginning of the week, and I was reading over it. And the most common one is $1,999 down, and your car payment's $169 a month. I saw one $149 a month, and I mean that's cheap.
I like that number.
That is. That's a cheap car payment.
It appeals to me.
If you don't really care and you just need something to drive you around, I mean, and you want it to be new and know it's going to get you from point A to point B, that's a cheap car payment.
Yeah. Well, at this point in my life, that's all I want is to get from A
I had
to
you
B.
in mind when I saw the story.
I'm not surprised.
So, here we go. Last week we were talking about car judging. If you guys didn't tune in last week, what car judging is something apparently that's real. And we read the story last week where when you're sitting at a stoplight, a lot of times they say the reason why the person in front of you gets stuck at the light and doesn't move forward when it's time to go green is they get lost in the thought of judging the person in the car next to them based upon damage the car has done or maybe the way that they're dressed or whatever it is. It's the strangest thing. I never even thought this would exist. So after we got off the air and I got around to going back into emails and stuff like that, I got some emails and some messages sent to me where people gave me some examples and said, yes, I too find myself doing this, where they actually are sitting in there and start thinking about the person like, wow, I wonder how long that dent's been on the car, or I wonder how long they've had that window taped up, or because you can see all the tape marks on it. So these were some of the ones that people gave me that I thought were pretty funny. 2 spare tires on the vehicle leaves them wondering, where did the second spare come from? Well, since the car only comes with 1 spare.
In the back seat.
You had to go take it off another car to put it on your car so you could have 2 spare tires on the car at the same time.
Well, you wouldn't know it was a spare unless it was one of those space savers. Or
It is space savers. I'm sure that's what it is because I've seen this. I've seen.
I have too.
Yeah, I've seen with 2 space savers on it. So
on the same side.
yeah, exactly. So here's another one that somebody gave me: mismatched doors. And they put yes doors. The rest of the car is fine, but the guy must be door challenged. Because it has mismatched. Everything else on the car is perfectly fine except for the doors. So is he door challenged? I always think people are mirror challenged. I see these cars running around with different colored mirrors all the time. And I've seen some cars with 2 different colored mirrors on them. I'm just like, what is that guy doing that keeps on losing mirrors?
I did that.
Did you?
I had for my Buick Regal to pass inspection, I had to replace a mirror. The mirror was black.
Right.
That's how it came from the auto parts place. And my car was white. And it was like, we're going to have to charge you so much to paint it. And I said, will it pass inspection? Does the color matter? No. I said, put the black mirror on there.
Well, this is more like you have a red mirror on one side, a yellow mirror on the other side, and the car is white.
Yeah, I get that too.
That would make you mirror challenged.
I did.
All right, here's another one. Wooden bumpers. Have you seen it where people have taken wood, made the bumper out of wood, and bolted it in?
I have.
It takes more time, as far as what this person put. It takes more time for that person to make that wood bumper and have it fit than it would probably for him just to replace the bumper.
Well, obviously, he really wanted the wooden bumper. He was making a statement of some
I don't know.
sort.
Are they making a statement, or are they just putting it up there because they didn't want to go buy another bumper?
I mean, they didn't research very well, did they?
Let me just say, I got some pictures sent to me. Duct tape is amazing. Some of the things that people sent me that people have done with duct tape to hold a car together.
Yeah, you use duct tape to hold that air conditioner in the rear passenger window.
I saw a guy where he had the whole door was crunched in, and they duct taped over the door to the point where they made the door flat basically again, so you couldn't really tell the door was crushed in. Yeah, some of the pictures I got sent were pretty crazy. And the last one that was sent to me that was pretty cool was a whisk broom attached to the rear wiper. I don't understand how that wipes water away, but maybe for snow is the only thing I think that was used for.
I don't get that either.
I don't know, man. I've seen some strange things, but these were some of the ones that were sent to me. So I actually got caught up in this week. I noticed, I told you, I didn't really realize that, but I know that happens. I was sitting there waiting to get pulled into traffic, and there was 2 girls sitting in a Jeep. One girl looked like she was having the worst day of her life. The other girl was in the mirror, putting on makeup with the biggest smile, and she must have put on makeup for like 15 minutes while I sat there waiting to try to get into traffic. We were sitting there in a traffic jam. She was in the mirror. She applied makeup. She applied the liner around her lips. Then she put on lipstick. Then she tapped the lipstick. Then she put a sealer on top of it. And I was just like, why is this girl so happy when the girl sitting in the same car next to her, it looks like she's so miserable? Yeah, so it is a real thing. I caught myself doing it too. Just thought I'd let you know. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the show. It is that time. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday where you guys are at. We are trying to enjoy it here. Temperature's actually a little better than it's been all week. Get out there, have some fun, enjoy yourself. Sunday is right around the corner. Enjoy your Sunday. Turn off the TV. Spend some time with the kids like I always tell you to. They will love you for it. And we'll talk to you soon.